There you go.
Hey, are you going to finish as a 3 seed this year?
A 3 seed?
Yeah.
I leave my seed everywhere.
Since you went away, the days grow long, and soon I'll hear old winter song. But I miss you most of all, my darling, when autumn leaves start to fall. The falling leaves drift by my window. The autumn.
Hello, Super Awesome League.
Hello, friends.
It's been a while. But we're back for a special one-time, one-shot of a little Super Awesome League show for the 2017 season. How you doing, Chad?
It's the winter classy as fuck show.
That's right. Classy as fucking hell.
Scotch.
Oh, I miss scotch.
You're
What you drinking there, Chad? What you drinking?
Highland Park 12. On the topic of scotch, I know you're going to be missing some scotch as this evening's football game against the two Super Bowl losers didn't work out in your favor so well.
Well, I think we are currently shooting this. This show about an hour after the Seahawks' heartbreaking loss to the Atlanta Falcons, in which Sean Jeffs and I had a bet going. And yes, I will be buying Sean a fancy bottle of scotch of his choosing.
Oh, Blair Walsh.
Oh, he's the worst kicker in the league. He cannot make any kick when it counts. That's at least 2 games he's cost us this season. And you know, on the Seahawk subreddit, #1 post tonight, Blair Walsh should be publicly executed. Discuss. Now, I want to defend the person who posted this. They're not advocating it. They're just opening it for discussion.
4 missed field goals in 3 weeks. Yikes. 2 lost games because of it.
He always makes it when it doesn't matter. Never makes it when it does. Blair Walsh can fucking go to hell.
Cheers to that. I think on a note of futility, we should note what happened this week, which will probably go down in infamy in the Super Awesome League. The lowest outputting of points by quarterbacks.
That was epic in its failure. That was like the type of thing, like I kept checking back in throughout the weekend to see, or throughout the games to watch Chris's score just go down like minute by minute. Like it was incredible. And I don't mean this to trash talk Chris. I mean, we do a lot of trash talk on the show. It's all in good fun, right? All in good fun.
Of course.
But it was breathtaking, the fact that, like, yes, it was awful, but it's the type of awful that you never see twice. And you all just everyone just kind of wants to stop and stare at it.
And without Cutler. Somehow without Cutler.
I know, right? I think previously the record for quarterback futility in a week was held by Cutler by himself. I think somebody had Cutler and an open spot for quarterback, and that's was the low point they got.
I did pretty well in week 1. I think I had Andy Dalton for the second lowest score of the season, putting up minus 28.
But your other quarterback was able to get some positive numbers, right?
Yeah, Jared Goff, I think, got like 8 points.
That's right. Jared Goff, who has really turned it around this year.
Yeah, pretty much immediately after I cut him, which is the theme of my season. If you're looking to pick up a player that I just cut, he's probably going to go off.
You're so cute.
Wanted to mention the other bet that was going on this week was between we were playing each other.
Talk about tales of futility.
Oh yes, we are now taking suggestions for what Chad should wear to next year's draft, because we bet the loser had to wear a costume of the winner's choosing to the draft next year. Hopefully, whoever the champion is, probably me, will choose a draft location that is very public and allow us to get maximum humiliation of Chad next year.
Open water blackjack barn? Why?
Yeah, you can wear a gorilla suit in an open water blackjack barn away.
Good.
Gorilla, like slave girl, like sex slave gorilla suit. Thinking like gorilla suit with Leia bikini. I don't know. There's so many options. I was thinking maybe the Borat mankini is just the mind reels. The mind reels with the possibilities. So please get those suggestions in. We got plenty of time to think about it. I do have to provide the costume to Chad, so please keep it within reason.
It's something to chew on for you guys. To really think about it for a while and chew over the possibilities.
I was thinking possibly the whipped cream bikini a la Friday Night Lights. I'll give you a couple cans yourself so you can retouch as the night goes on, or not, depending how you feel, depending how distracted you are by the draft.
I do think that I'm going to shorten each draft round to only 5 seconds this year to speed up the overall time of the draft.
All you do is click buttons.
Oh man, I'm not gonna lie, Chad. That whiskey you're drinking looks delicious.
Salmon Part 12?
Just any Scotch in general. I currently am not drinking at the moment. I am drinking a Mediterranean cucumber water, which is good. It's better than the whiskey actually. I can't drink any alcohol, doctor's orders, until the size of my liver swelling reduces. Still getting over a bout of mono I had last month. Waiting for my blood work to come back. I need to get, doctor says I can drink again when I get a blood test that comes back that is, quote, less interesting.
Now,
Something you never want to hear the doctor say.
Did you get mono from trying to kiss the Darren Sproles trophy topper back to life?
One can only assume, Chad. One can only assume.
Speaking of trophy tops, we are real interested to see what the new trophy top holds, since Berger promised us, but has subsequently failed to deliver on any evidence of a new and improved trophy. We've just seen pieces of the old trophy.
I doubt that it exists. We are now well over halfway through the season. He only has, a month and a half left of having the trophy, assuming he doesn't repeat. And so even if he were to reveal it at this point, there would be it would almost be anticlimactic. I mean, we'd only get to see the topper and the new trophy for such a brief period of time. As opposed to the Sproles, which I got in there during the summer and gave you guys plenty of opportunity to see and bask in. So Berger, ball's in your court, man. Let's see what's the trophy as well. Let's see what you got. So, oh man, I don't miss Scotch. I'm good. I'm good with my cucumber water over here. It's a filthy habit. I'm healthier. I feel.
I don't miss Scotch either, but I do miss the sound of ice clanging against glass.
But that shit is going around town, so wash your hands, people.
Speaking of washing your hands,
I also
Jesper
made
has really washed his hands on this season, and has decided, as possibly the earliest team eliminated from the playoffs that wasn't actively terrible and non-existent, he tried to find a little bit of value in that.
Which leads us to this week's counterpoint.
Tanking.
Hold on, I almost got
Oh my god!
Now, this has been a hot button issue this year. There's been the issue in the league this year, which is interesting because we've never had to deal with this before. We've always, by the time the trade deadline rolled around, we've never had somebody mathematically eliminated who was also an active participant.
Sure, we've had people that were inactive but weren't in the position to trade players away.
Exactly. So this was the first time we've ever had to deal with it, and I have to say it's been interesting to watch. It's been frustrating at times, but we've had some sounding off on it on the forums, and so I think we're gonna really hash it out here. Chad and I are gonna get to the bottom of this. Chad is gonna take the which position are you taking, Chad? You're taking the point or the counterpoint?
It's challenging. As the commissioner, I should probably be against it. However, as a social experience, I like it, based on the fact that the player involved, the only player in your league, Jesper, looking at you, not American, who is viewing the most American of games from the outside, clearly has realized that it is something involved in football. Because it's an obvious thing. There are clearly teams in the league that are tanking for that better draft spot. And thus, observing that from the outside and putting it into practical use into our league, I think is brilliant.
Chad, you ignorant slut. I don't like the nationalist tone that you struck in your latest diatribe. Jesper, regardless of his nationality, is just as valuable a member of our league and as valuable a human being as your average American Joe Six-Pack. And the fact that you would bring nationality, that you would bring race into it, is disgusting. There are black men being persecuted by police officers all over the nation, and all they're doing is protesting by taking a knee during a song, and you, sir, would blackball them and remove them from a job. You make me sick. Go tanking.
It is interesting, as it's challenging for more than one team to tank. Having such a broad field go to the playoffs, and there being a fairly minor amount of teams that get eliminated, really the position of tanking is only for the very bottom of spots.
Yeah, I mean, Chad, you're still fighting for a playoff spot.
Yes, actually, my playoffs start this week, in fact.
Yeah, if you win out, you should be able to make the playoffs. I myself one time calculated when I was I think I was 1-7, and I calculated if I won the last 5 games of the season, I would make the playoffs, and I in fact was able to do that. And 1-7 was right at the same spot that Jesper started tanking as well, but to be fair, I had been losing by much smaller margins. I had what I felt was a competitive team. I had a team that I felt could compete and could make the playoffs. Whereas Jesper, I mean, his team really blew. I mean, seriously, Jesper, no offense, buddy, but yeah, your team was shit from the get.
Now, it is great because looking back on some of the records, the only team that has not missed the playoffs in our league's history is Jesper.
That is true. I double-checked that, and that was right.
So it is also nice to see that mark of futility brandished onto his name.
Just like the rest of us.
1 year he didn't make the playoffs.
So, I don't know. We're really not getting any close to an answer on this whole tanking thing. I'm honestly on the fence. I'd love us to do a point-counterpoint here, but I'm honestly on the fence in that I really I understand. I want a more competitive league. I want a league where everybody is trying their best every week. But as soon as we allowed ourselves to start trading draft picks, it becomes a 2-season game. We are playing for this season and the next season. As soon as we trade draft pick, that happens. And I think maybe next year...
I appreciate that as a commissioner because it shows commitment to the league, that people are looking ahead. We're not scraping together.
That's true. So it does keep an active participant, rolling throughout the league. But also the fact that we can trade draft picks, and if we trade them outside of the season, there's no veto power except for you as the commissioner. I mean, I accumulated 5 extra 8th-round draft picks during the offseason.
By the veto block.
Exactly. And as we know, our league, we're all cunts. We are all cunts and block every trade we possibly can. I see Troy Murdo, our producer, over here nodding his agreement.
I think puts me that the Super Awesome League is the League of Heels.
I think that's a very accurate summation there.
Seemingly everybody at one time or another insists on being the bad guy and slamming down the rest of the league to shake it up.
I think it's a tradition that every single first trade proposed every season is vetoed. I don't think it's like a spoken tradition, but I was going back over my head, and I can't think of a first trade that tried to go through. Even the most innocuous, doesn't matter, waiver wire kind of trade, they are always vetoed.
Which is probably why we should at least have the conversation of extending the trade veto at least one more spot to needing a 5th vote.
That seems near unanimous. I haven't heard anybody speak against that. Several people speak in favor of it.
Yeah,
right now, a minority of players can block a trade, and that doesn't seem fair. But the problem is that Mother Yahoo doesn't allow us to do that, right?
It's something we'll look into for next year.
Yeah, there's a couple proposals. I put one thing on the forum about a way to avoid it, where trades wouldn't be proposed through the official Yahoo forums anymore, but be proposed in writing and work their way through the commish that way and go through the forums.
I will definitely look into making sure that Yahoo can automate it all, because I'm not looking for trade proposals from you guys on the regular.
There's nothing Chad likes more than dealing with our bullshit.
My inbox is already very, very full.
So there's a couple of things we can do. We could also institute a stiff penalty for last place, which would discourage tanking. Again, I see Tromador, our producer, sitting there nodding his agreement over there. There's a lot of possibilities, and I think should we have a quorum, we would get to discuss these in full. And really see what happens.
Fun or maybe unfun option that I would suggest that I've seen in practice before is that we would extend the league to an 11th player, and modeling itself off the European soccer tradition, but there's not as much tanking because the fear of tanking means you're relegated to the B League. Whomever finishes last is replaced by the player that finished last the season before. So the penalty for getting last is you don't play the next year. You have to wait an entire year.
Oh. Woo. Oh, that's. I remember we had talked relegation. We had talked about actually having like a B league going on, but that.
And to a slight degree, there has been relegation in this league.
Yeah,
but that precedent has been set.
But the problem now is that we have 10 players who are all committed to the league, and I hate the idea of one bad season sending me out there, and I've got to win a championship in the B League in order to just get back here. So I don't like that.
I'm not saying it would be a championship in the B League. I'm just saying that if we introduced an 11th player, you would come back the next year. It's just whomever gets last misses the following season. Although I know that's pretty brutal.
That is brutal. I think we have an 11th player in the wings. We have a 12th player as well who could cycle around in there.
Sure. I mean, on that same note, we could, the two teams that don't make the playoffs, if you don't make the playoffs, you get relegated.
So here's the thing, is are you,
Just ideas here.
So the next season, would you be, would the teams that had been kicked out the previous season get first dibs on coming back the next season?
They would just automatically come back in. They would
Okay.
the two players that missed the playoffs would automatically come back the next year, replacing the two players that didn't make it.
That is a stiff penalty, because I'm shuddering at the idea of missing a season of fantasy football. It's been a part of my life for so long now.
I agree. It is a bit of a harsh punishment, so that is a little bit much. But it would definitely encourage.
Yes, it would.
Some
It would.
cutthroat play.
But that was, yeah, for sure it would. But again, I mean, like injuries and bad luck happen, and is that fair?
I mean, we can take it back. We can take it.
Something to talk about. It's definitely an idea. to talk
Pump the
about.
brakes a little bit. We could force. We could have a league vote on whoever got last when they show up to the draft. They're required to wear something that we've designed or that we come up with as a whole, as a bit of a shaming mechanism.
Possibility that whoever gets last place has to pick 7th. That spot is automatically reserved for last place, and everyone else is randomly assigned.
Oh, Sam, always trying to find a way to not pick in 7th place.
I always pick in 7th place! I had to wheel and deal an entire round just to get out of 7th place this last year. What's with that?
There was a prop bet that you and I had a few years ago that we've both lost but never really followed through on, which perhaps we could have a placard of shame for last place.
Oh.
And they're required to stand on a street corner on draft day and get honks from people for a period of time, a busy street corner.
Wearing an outfit of the champion's choosing.
Yes,
Or
of course,
wearing an
of course.
outfit of second to last place's choosing. To give incentive to get that second, to get incentive, extra
not
incentive
get
not to get
last?
last place, yeah. Couple ideas. All stuff we can talk about the quorum. That's why next year we should have a quorum. We should have it be like 2 hours before the draft. Give us plenty of time to talk about all these things. We have a lot of ideas. They're all great. Can't wait to hear what your ideas are as well.
Yeah, I mean, really, the way I see it anyway, draft weekend, I know people have children and other commitments, but it's always funner if we just have an entire draft weekend.
It's true.
I know one of these years we've laughed and joked about it. I don't know if it's gonna be next year. It could possibly be 2020, the season of 2020. But I know we're gonna have a draft in Denmark.
One of these days.
Jesper, we're coming to your house to fuck your shit up.
Jesper, I was rooting for you this year. If I don't win, you're my second place person. I want to win the league because I want the excuse to go to Denmark. And I know if you win, you're gonna call draft in Denmark. And yeah, so come on, man. Well, you know you got 4 picks in the first 2 rounds next year, so that should be interesting. You know, the thing about Jesper, he's got 2 first-round picks and 2 second-round picks. But if some of his early round picks bust, he's got nothing in the 3rd, 4th, 5th, or 6th. He's not gonna have any plan B. So we'll see if this blows up in his face or not.
Yeah, there's a lot of value on those first round picks, but boy, do they seem to get hurt.
Well, looking at Sean, Sean has shown what 2 first-round picks can do for you. As Sean right now is leading the league in points and in wins.
Yeah.
And he didn't even have 2 early round picks, just 2 in the 1st, 7th, and 8th round, 7th and 8th pick. And we're seeing what it's doing for him.
Relative mediocrity. Julio Jones not having a traditional Julio season, and Matt Ryan much removed from his MVP season. However, he is going to finish in the top 10. by hook or by crook, he's slowly eking his way up there. Ugh.
He had a pretty good game against my beloved Hawks this week.
It just helps if every quarterback above him gets hurt, and then he can catch up points-wise that way. Like, he might only end the season with 150 points, but he's still going to outscore everyone that keeps getting hurt.
Yeah, this thing, I think this year the injury bug is just kind of picked on quarterbacks. I can tell that firsthand. I thought my quarterbacks were set when I had Aaron Rodgers, and yeah, he goes down for the season. And
I thought I was set getting my bye week with famous Jameis Amos out of the way. But alas.
hindsight.
Good thing I've handcuffed, if you will, his quarterback backup in case I can do a little switcheroo. Is it Fitzmagic? Is it famous Jameis Amos? Is it Fitzmagic?
I have also handcuffed my quarterback
handbag.
this year with Case Keenum and Teddy Bridgewater, and I gotta say I'm not loving it. I'm not loving it.
What does he do with that second glove? Teddy, with his 2 gloves.
Second glove. There's all sorts of things you can do with a glove if you just use your imagination.
Well, the guy that's been doing all my trades and picks and everything for me. Hi, you're so cute.
So biggest bust out of the eighth round for you?
Oh, man.
Was it Sproles? I mean, he got hurt.
I kept him on my injured reserve all year, even though I could have put Aaron Rodgers on the IR because he's my lucky charm, man. It's superstitious, but I'm believing in Sproles. I'm keeping him on my team all year long.
Did I read somewhere once that you've never won a championship without Sproles on your team?
Yes, I've never won a championship without Sproles on my team. My three championship wins, league leading, are they all Sproles on my team every year, and so I've been drafting. I got a whole lot of scat backs this year, a lot of triple threat scat backs. I like running backs that catch the ball, and I'm trying to see which one's going to be the next Sproles. Is it going to be McCaffrey? Is it going to be Abdullah? Is it going to be
Cohen?
Could be Cohen. The Cohen brothers.
Oh, the Cohen brothers.
So I guess Devontae Parker spent a lot of time injured. I got him in the 8th round. Definitely my best pick in the 8th round was DeAndre Hopkins. That guy has been a top 3 wide receiver, even with Deshaun Watson out, and I got him in the 8th round. And that's been money.
Yeah, it was a big drop for DeAndre Hopkins all the way down to the 8th round, but I guess that's what starting quarterback Tom Savage will do for you.
I gotta say, ever since Brock Osweiler has gone back to starting in Denver, Demaryius Thomas his numbers have also picked up.
Back to his roots in Denver,
Trevor Simons.
He was just kind of splurting all over the place.
Yeah, well, he liked Sanders. He would target Sanders a little more, but yeah, it was just kind of spray and pray. Whereas Osweiler still puts up terrible stats for himself, but at least he gets the ball to Demaryius Thomas more, so that makes me happy as well. I gotta say, I don't want to call Sproles a bust because just having him on my team is a psychological boost.
Of course. He's a chemistry player. He's good in the locker room for your team.
Absolutely, yeah. He's a real leader.
But he's still on the sideline.
He's the Rudy of our team, only slightly shorter and slightly smaller. He's like the Rudy of our team. He's the mascot. And
6 months.
What do you think Berger is hiding on the top of that trophy?
Chewbacca.
And cut.